Good morning, happy Wednesday, and welcome into the number one group of five college football podcast in the world. This is the Group of Five Guys, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to be. We need your help to do that. We need you to hit the follow button on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel, give us a 5-star rating and a review, leave a comment, tell your family and friends all about us, or you can download the Varsity app for free and listen to the show on there. On this episode, we're going to recap a late night of Tuesday night football. Had 3 ball games. We got some Wednesday and Thursday games. We've got a preview. We're going to talk a little bit about this music in the stadium debate and plenty more. Hope you enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round, that's incredible. The wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the Group of Five.
Yeah, I really appreciate you do for the Group of Five programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this. But you guys are on the forefront of this, and
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of Five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
Little cold this morning, Jeff. Woke up, ripped the covers off. A little cold in the household this morning. It's a little crisp out there. Truly has become fall. I mean, we're in the thick of it now. We're about halfway through the season already as quickly as it's went.
It's honestly pretty crazy when you think about it. And it was cold last night at Johnny Red Floyd Stadium while I watched our Blue Raiders, who are 1 win closer to the conference championship, my friend. Big win against Kennesaw State. We'll get into that. It is cold. You know where it's going to be cold next week, Sprouse?
I know.
Go ahead and tell the people, my friend. Go ahead and tell them.
Yeah, it is official. Hotels booked. Flights are booked. Jeff and I, a group of 5 guys, will be making the trip north up I-75 to Toledo, Ohio, for the Battle of I-75, Bowling Green, Toledo. First time on a Saturday in, 10 years, something like that, according to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So big time rivalry game, big time conference implications, not quite as big as it could have been, given the performances over the last couple weeks from Toledo and Bowling Green, but that's all right. Rivalry game should be a great game. Anticipating a big time crowd, anticipating a sellout crowd. Can't wait.
It's going to be awesome.
Can't wait, but the forecast, Jeff, is a bit concerning. We already have freeze warnings in Toledo. And I don't like it.
I love it because apparently there's supposed to be a dunk tank that I think Matthew J. Sprouse is supposed to be sitting in 40-degree weather.
Yeah.
Get to see some people up there, man. I'm fired up to get up there.
Yeah, me too. Second time, we got up to Miami last year. Get up to Toledo this year. Trying to get up to the MAC a little more often. Still got to get out to the Mountain West, but we got some plans for later in the year for what might be a de facto playoff game come later in the year. But look, I mean, I'm a man of my word, Jeff. I'll get in the dunk tank. Okay, I'll do it. I mean, I'm not. While I don't necessarily like the cold, I'll do it. This is the thing, Jeff. Funny enough, the only time that I ever even had to, like in high school, right? The only time I ever even thought about wearing like even a long sleeve we were in the state semifinals, which would have been, I think it would have been Thanksgiving weekend or maybe the weekend after for us. And it was, it was probably like 60. And I was like, I'm kind of debating wearing like one of the long, that was back when your only really option was like the original Under Armour, like the thick turtleneck Under Armour. And I was like, I could wear that, but then I was like, but I'm an O lineman. We don't wear long sleeves in the cold. So we did lose that game, but that's the only time. Like, it's funny what was I thinking about? I go back to my recruiting days, and I remember when I made my visit to Air Force, it was in the spring. I super late visit, late signer. It was like March maybe when I finally signed there. And I visited in the spring. They were in spring ball when I visited, and it was snow, like it was cold. And I don't know why I thought in my mind I could get used to this. No way.
Different cold
so I don't,
out there.
Yeah. So I don't know. Some of these Southern kids that end up north and stuff. I don't know. Good for you. Good on you for sticking it out. But anyway, Jeff, what was the music selection like in Johnny Red Floyd last night in that thriller of a 14-5 ball game against the Owls of Kennesaw State?
Man, I gotta say that the music selection wasn't that bad. I mean, you had you had some good songs being played, some stuff that you definitely know that the kids wanted. The problem was, I don't know what's going on with the speaker system there. Couldn't hear it. Couldn't hear the referees. They actually had a live band underneath the Jumbotron. So during TV timeouts, they play live music. I thought was great. You couldn't hear them. Like, I don't know exactly what was going on. They had the extra speakers that were on the field. And I was down there pregame, and like, it was cranked up. It was good. But when I got to my seat, we had our little outdoor box behind the band. I couldn't hear anything. Like, there was a lot of laundry thrown last night. And let me say, we got to do something about these refs. They are bad. Yeah. I mean, these calls, it was all over the field. And I know we got an issue. We got a lot of issues on our offensive line. But we go and drive down the field late. Creedle runs in for a touchdown. And as he's crossing the goal line, the ref that's at the goal line throws the flag as far as he can throw it back near the offensive line and calls holding from like that far away, way after, like so many late penalties, so many late flags. But yeah, anyways, music selection was great, actually. Just couldn't hear it. So again, I don't know if that had to contribute with people complaining about being too loud. Maybe it was the band director again talking about his perfect pitch and his hearing.
Forgot about that.
I don't know what it was, but you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed. Anytime I've been back in some of the stadiums that have poor speaker systems, is you get this kind of echo. You get kind of where you can't really hear anything, but you're hearing it twice a little bit especially when you have something live like that. And it makes for a pretty terrible experience as far as the music goes. But the reason I bring it up, Jeff, is, I tweeted something about this. It's a little bit of a hot topic because there was that viral clip of LSU, right? And the whole crowd, or at least the whole student section, is singing "Set It Off" by Lil Boosie, which, if you don't know, the lyrics are quite what's the word I'm looking for here, Jeff?
Explicit?
Are quite explicit, lewd, maybe even inappropriate even. And I go back to some of the older fans that have complained about music at Louisiana or Middle or wherever, and I'm like, I get it. The stuff they sing at LSU is probably over the top. I mean, everything they do is profane, but it's like, their stadium's packed every night. Colorful. Yeah. Very colorful. Well, they got basically their fight song, says, Jeff, I don't know if it says, "Suck that tiger D word, comma, B word," over and over again. I mean, that's like their fight song. Okay. And yet I don't see that stadium. I don't see their older fans not going anymore because of that or whatever. And yet we can't even have a hip hop song or a popular song be played too loud because the band director's got a perfect pitch. So I mean, it's like, and I got to thinking. So I combine that, and then I'm watching the Troy and South game last night, and I see South sell out on a Tuesday night for a 2-4 versus 1-5 game, and show me an excuse for why fans don't go to a game, and I'll show you another school that has all the excuses and still fans go to the game. So that's the thing, is everybody's got an excuse, and if you're not into it and you don't want to go, like, just be a man or woman and admit that. Don't try to come up with all the reasons why you can't go. It's like people calling out for work, Well, I got this. Oh, my flat tire. I'll come pick you up. Oh, well, but if you come pick me up, then it's like, oh, okay. Well, then I'll have this person come pick me. Come after lunch. Oh, yeah, but after lunch, I got this. That's what these people are, which is, I guess, it's our American workforce nowadays, Jeff.
Yeah, it is. You're right. And I employ a lot of them, and I hear every excuse under the sun why they can't make it to work. And I offer to go pick them up, and I get the same responses. But yeah, I don't understand it. Like, and I guess maybe it's lack of understanding of the bigger picture of how to, like, what you need to build a formidable winning culture and program. Because it's not just like, yes, winning cures and covers up a lot of deficiencies at your school, but you got to have all the pieces together. And an in-game atmosphere in a packed stadium is a huge, piece to winning football games, to building winning culture, to getting recruits. Because I'm going to be honest, guys, players don't want to go and play at a school that has 3, 4, 5,000 people in the stands that don't cheer, where you don't play loud music, where the kids can't get fired up. Like, you got to understand what's important. And I'm pretty sure, regardless of your age, you can go and have a good time. And if there's songs that are being played that you don't care for, it's not going to ruin your night. And if it does, then you probably don't have a lot going on in your life that's very important if that is what ruins your experience. It's about the students having a great time, building an atmosphere that's conducive to helping your team win. Because I guarantee you, that loud atmosphere, and shout out to South Alabama and their fan base and them showing up. And I'm sure Troy had a pretty good contingent in that stadium. But that is freaking awesome to sell out on a Tuesday night. I don't know when their fall break was. I know it was our fall break last night at Middle Tennessee. Not that probably had a whole lot to do with students not being there because they don't show up.
It's been fall break for 15 years at Middle.
Yeah. So,
come on, every sport's got a fall break now at Middle.
Exactly. But shout out to South Alabama and their fan base, understanding the assignment, showing up for your team. Because I promise you, as ugly as that game was at times, it made a difference. It made a difference, and the Jaguars got the win, which they hadn't beaten Troy in a while.
Yeah, and now for that South crowd, keep showing up. Okay, now you're 3-4. You got a good ball club. You're really, as we've been talking about all year, the way the Sun Belt is, you still got everything right in front of you. If you're any team in the Sun Belt, really has everything right in front of them. They can just keep winning. Jeff, I wanted to ask you because I heard a stat the other day, and you're an employer. I heard a stat that 60% of people, I don't know if it's got to be a certain age demographic, are bringing their parent to job interviews. Have you seen this in action?
I have not personally had a kid or adult, for that matter, bring their parent in for an interview, but I have had parents call or text me
about their kid's job, about
certain things. Now, if they got a concern about a work environment, I don't mind them texting me. But I have in my tenure of employing people and managing people, I've had a handful of parents that text me or call me and want to call out for their child or want to have a conversation on behalf of their child. And I pretty much be like, hey, I understand where you're coming from. Respectfully, please have Jimmy or Sue, call me and text me, and we will hash it out. Because I employ your kid. I don't employ you. Now, I'm not a jerk about it, especially like I said, if it's something that's concerning, I will always have a conversation. But if your kid's sick, have your kid call me and communicate that. And usually that's a pretty big red flag. If their parents are doing that, they're not long for the workforce at Domenico's Italian Deli.
Of course not. Dude, there's a couple things. Like I remember a couple instances pretty vividly. Like I remember I would have, playing like Little League and stuff, all the sports would sort of overlap. So I remember like I would come out of basketball league, which was in the summer, and going into like Pop Warner football, and I was going to miss like some practices because I was still in basketball season. And I remember being like 7 or 8 years old, and my parents would park the car and they'd be like, "Hey, Matt, get out, go run up to your coach and tell him why you're going to miss the next practice." And then you know what the coach would do? Don't care. Your ass is running. You miss practice. Like, and you may have no control over it, but you still, but it was like, he's like, how are we? I mean, these kids you're talking 18, 19, 20, older than 20 years old, some of them. And then the other part of it, I'm going to, I'm crediting my parents here a lot, but I'd go to a Dolphins game, and it was like understood, like as a young kid, especially, like my dad would kind of have to explain, like, hey, you're going to see some stuff at this football game today that's not okay. All right. Like we don't act that way, or we don't do those things. And, everybody's drunk and cussing and throwing stuff and whatever. And it's like, if you don't want to be a part of that, that's okay. But understand, like, it's also kind of part of football fandom. You know what I mean? It's kind of part of the atmosphere. The hardest places to play are the most rowdy. And I mean, there's certainly a middle ground, and you don't have to participate. You can go and you can watch people act like an idiot and whatever. Speaking of, did you see that Ravens fan that knocked out the two command? What an idiot. What a piece of crap, number one.
100%.
But also just dumb.
I don't know what you get out of that. Like, I honestly don't.
They call little man syndrome.
Yeah, it honestly just pisses me off. Like, a few years ago, I probably wouldn't really have cared. But I'm starting to see things on the internet that truly make me angry, and it's probably because I got kids now, and I know at some point my boys are gonna be going to games, and we're gonna have them ready for certain situations like that. But and maybe that's growing up, the East Bay growing up in me, where heads on a swivel at all times, no matter where you're at. But it's just stupid. It's just absolutely stupid. And
that's part of
he's
it
lost
too.
his job. He
lost everything.
Yeah, he's going to be
for good. I'm not in the certainly not in the cancel culture boat by any means. But man, you do something like that, and you pick and you're like some vulnerable other drunk guy that's like stumbling down the street. You just decide you want to knock the guy out. For those of you that didn't see it, some idiot Ravens fan is just like literally looking to hit somebody after, and they won.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
And he finds two drunk command. That's the other part of it. See, that's the other side of it is you got to make sure you're in control of yourself, because you can't defend yourself against the idiots. And I don't know. That was in Baltimore. I wish some Baltimore resident was exercising their Second Amendment right at that point, because people like that, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
You deserve to catch one. Anyway, hey, Kennesaw State and Middle, Jeff, 14-5. Bad football being played. I will say this about Kennesaw. I didn't know this. The head coach, quarterback, and wide receiver. It's like dad and his two kids play on the team. Yeah. I didn't know that, Bohannon. But Kennesaw just they can't get a whole lot going on offense. Middle, Jeff, you score 14 points. You score what on the very first drive of the game, and then you get a punt return, and that's it. And this offensive line's got to be addressed, because it's not that they are getting beat per se, like they're getting on their man. They're just not blocking people. And it's not any exotic blitzes. I mean, look, if you're a guard, okay, and the defensive tackle, let's say he's inside you, if he goes across the center's face, somebody's coming to you. You can't just follow that guy across the line of scrimmage. Somebody's going to come this way because that defensive end more than likely is coming into the B gap. He's yours. Or it goes the opposite way. If you're the left tackle and your defensive end goes to the B gap, guards got to, like, somebody's coming.
You got to stay square.
And they don't see any of it. Any of it. I mean, in our system, it was pretty simple for the guard. It was in the pass protection. You had linebacker, then the B gap. Then if nothing came, you go back and you just clean up whoever's the center's blocking. Typically, so it's backer, B gap, nose was kind of the way we played it. And so if you're the guard, your eyes are on the backer. If he comes A gap, you block him. If he doesn't come, B gap. There's your defensive tackle or your D end. Now, if he doesn't come, now you're back and you're helping the center. And it's like it's so elementary. And the fact that we've had a lot of the same offensive linemen for the last couple of years that still are not able to pick anything up it's so concerning. It's so concerning because you're telling me, like, I don't care how talented the guy is. If you don't know, like, basic, I mean, I don't even know if you call that football IQ or what, but man, so many times I see a guy just, D tackle goes inside and they just stay with him. And then in comes B gap wide open, untouched, or they're trying to block like man. It's almost like man to man, right? Like they're thinking, I got this guy no matter what. And he goes all the way across the line of scrimmage and they're like following. It was wild, Jeff, just wild. And they get no movement in the run game.
No, the run game is moot pretty much. And I was getting so frustrated last night. They get the early safety. We're on the 1 yard line. We get a great 4th down stop on the first. I believe it was the first drive that Kennesaw had. They go for it. We stop them, and coming out of the goal line, you basically have one of two options. You're going to run the ball if you got the guys that can do it, or you're going to throw it deep. And they come up. It's cover 0. Everybody's mugged up on the line of scrimmage. And they run it right up the middle and get tackled for like a 3 yard loss and a safety. And at this point of the season, you've seen enough. You know what you have. I damn near just go 5 wide. I would go 5 wide and throw it because you damn sure, run it occasionally to try and, if you get in a favorable box, maybe you're able to block a 5-man box. But there's just far too many free runners at Nick Vadiato. I mean, the kid multiple times last night catches the ball, goes into a 3-step drop. Before he can reset and come up, he's on his 3rd step, getting ready to reset. And he's got guys in his face tackling him. I mean, that's like 1,000 and he's getting hit.
They're not even touching guys, Jeff.
No.
That's the thing. You could, if you just put your body in front of them and they swim you, you're at least going to give them more time than you're giving them.
And you mentioned, about the offensive lineman chasing, and what that does is, as soon as in linebackers, if they're smart enough, and you run, they blitzed last night. They'd have some delayed blitzes and shoot, frankly, just walk up and come. But when the offensive linemen, when they chase and turn their shoulders, that gap that was maybe this big has now become a freaking truck lane. Where a defensive end, if the tackle slants across his face and the guard chases, somebody's coming, whether it's a DN looping inside or a linebacker coming, and now you have a just massive lane that they can run through, untouched to the quarterback in a straight line right up the middle. You can't do it. You got to leave. If you're going to leave a free runner, it's got to come from the outside because now the quarterback can step up. He can move around. Mm-hmm. When it's right up the middle, there's not much you could freaking do, and it happened all night last night. It was getting so frustrating, but I'm proud of the guys for hanging in there, making plays, when they had, despite some questionable calls that had a touchdown call back and some other defensive pass interference I thought was clear as day by Kennesaw State. No flag. And I'm just looking around. I've seen this a lot this year with defensive pass interference. I don't know if that was a point of emphasis in the offseason, like let these guys play. And I'm all for that to a certain point. But when a DB is not even playing the ball, not looking for the ball, that's pass interference. That's textbook pass interference. Like, it's frustrating.
It bugs me when penalties. This is why I hate the targeting rule so bad. It bugs me when they're not penalized by poor, like it bugs me when you get penalized more for just a kind of a tough accidental play versus when it's just poor coverage. You did everything bad and then you just decide to grab or push or whatever, and they don't call that, but then they do call hand fighting or whatever, like jockeying for position. The officiating's been bad. And I'm going to say one more thing about, you talk about when the O-line chases like that, it also ruins your pocket. Yeah. Not that you had one in the first place because they're getting right past them, but it's like when you have your guard kind of in the backfield turning around and all that stuff, there's nowhere for the QB to step up into if somebody does come off the edge. I don't know. Bad play.
The last thing,
but hey, we got the dub, Jeff.
We got the dub, which is huge. One win closer to conference championship berth for our Blue Raiders. I gotta say this too, and Stock used to always preach: win time of possession, win the turnover battle, win explosive plays. If you can win in those three areas, you're either gonna win most games or you're definitely gonna be in it. And we have not done that. We did it. I think last night was probably the closest we've had. But we got to clean those things up. Far too many penalties, pre-snap penalties by the Blue Raiders. I think one punt, we had 3 illegal formation penalties, too many false starts. You get a big play, then you get a holding. And I know, I'm not the refs piss me off, but not all of it's them. You got to get some stuff cleaned up and have a little bit better discipline. But hey, we got the win. It's what we needed. Re-energize the fan base. Next time we're going to have double the capacity. We'll probably have 3,000 people there instead of 1,500. So it's, I'm fired up. It's hard to win football games, and you got to win that you desperately needed. And the Murphy family was there supporting. Had a great time.
You're damn right you were. Troy and South, we already talked about that sellout crowd in Mobile. For Troy, I thought, I'm not a quarterback guy, but it felt to me like neither quarterback was confident in their reads, because there was a couple times when they'd have a guy on a shallow route or crossing route, and they just wouldn't get it to him, and they were barely open for a split second, and they wouldn't throw it, and they relied on their then they'd tuck it and run. And I think that's maybe just inexperience. I think that's maybe, again, they're just not real confident in themselves right now, which hopefully will come. But I thought they both relied on their feet a little too much. I thought it was funny because a couple of weeks ago I was mad at some of the quarterbacks for not running, but it's that balance. But I thought, just a sloppy game. I didn't think South looked very good either. I mean, Gio Lopez didn't really do much. I thought Troy defensively played a pretty good ball game. It was 16-3 at halftime.
Yep.
Yeah. So
19,
kind of just a
19-3.
Yeah, kind of just a sloppy, weird game. Honestly, neither team really did anything to impress as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, we had the game on the TV in our box, kind of trying to watch, in between plays. And as far as Troy's quarterback situation, that definitely to me looks like what it is. Not understanding what you're seeing creates a quicker internal clock, which creates happy feet, which creates I got to go and run right now because I'm uncomfortable. And that's just seems like what it is. You got a lot of other issues too. You just lost so much last year, and you're seeing it in the middle. Like, you're trying to replace so many pieces, your coach, players, and not just any old players, like your best players, like great college football players. It's just tough to do that in your first year. And then Gio Lopez, he's such a run threat, and they got to figure out, he had 11 carries for 67 yards, had that long touchdown. I thought he was pretty efficient in the pass game as well. But yeah, it just seems like they should be more explosive, and they're not. Not quite sure what the remedy is, but 2-1 in conference, still very alive in the West.
Yeah.
Everything they want in front of them, and just fired up, man. That crowd, I saw that picture. It's you retweeted last night, and I was like, damn, that's awesome. So great.
Yeah, we we got to get to a game down there. We've been to the Senior Bowl a couple times now, down in Mobile, so we've gotten meet with the staff and facilities and all of that stuff. We got to get to a game, but it appears it's got to be that game, I think, because I don't know that they show out quite that well most of the time. There's one play in that game when I just shook my head, man. They had Lopez was kind of rolling out. He threw kind of a duck, and there was two Troy defenders right there along the bottom of the screen on the sideline, and like the corner fell or something like right in front of the receiver, and then the safety came like he was going to intercept it, but he ran behind the receiver, and the receiver just goes up and catches it like right in between two guys. And I'm sitting there. How did two defensive backs, neither one of them, play the ball right there? And now that was, to me, that was like, this reminds me of some of the bad teams that I've been a part of. That's the kind of things that happen. You just like, you can't even explain it.
DBs,
it's just a bad play.
DBs are like automobile drivers in Murfreesboro when a snow flurry hits the ground. They just freak out and they have no idea. All the things they've been doing for their entire life since they've been driving in a car all go out the window. It's like when a quarterback throws the ball in a DB's one-on-one, they don't know what to do. They freak out. They start grabbing at everything. Like it's the wildest thing.
I like your analogy you used last year, a toddler in a swimming pool. It's a DB when the ball's in the air. Just,
That's what they look. That's what they look like half the time.
Oh, man. But see, those are the ones where they don't call pass interference on when they're doing that stuff. And you're like, you got to throw a flag there. They have no idea what they're doing. They're just out there. La Tech, New Mexico State. How about that? 2 overtimes, Jeff. And I'm going to be transparent with you. I didn't watch but like one snap of that game. I was watching middle. I was watching Troy, and then I fell asleep putting my kid to sleep. And then I woke up. It was halftime, and the games were sloppy. And I was like, you know what? Let me try to get a couple hours of sleep here. But you did catch the end of that game.
I did. I caught a lot of the end of that game down the stretch because we were in the car driving. That was an 8 o'clock Central kick. So I had a little bit extra time to watch it. And I got to say this. O'Meary Wiggins, the running back for La Tech, I know they lost. That dude has some wiggle to him. I mean, he runs angry. He's explosive. 60 yards on the ground, had a touchdown. I thought they were going to keep giving it to him in the overtime. I'm kind of disappointed they didn't, because he would get outside and make people miss, run through arm tackles. He's a good player. He's fun to watch too. But man, it came down to it. You know how I feel about kickers. You have one job. You practice all day long, every day. You play pool. Our kickers used to play pool in the locker room and kick. Those are the two things they used to do all day. And they would still go out there and miss. So La Tech gets the ball. They got like 1:50 left. They drive down the field. Great drive. Get within a chip shot. I mean, it's damn near a PAT. And you get a faulty snap. Kind of gets down. Causes, I think, the kicker to be a second late, which causes a low trajectory on the ball. And New Mexico State blocks it, forces overtime. You get a field goal match back and forth. And then, in the last overtime, La Tech, doinker off the post. It does go in. New Mexico State gets the ball. Final shot at it. They go down and score, and that's your ball game. Louisiana Tech should have won that game. Everybody did their part in that fourth quarter to get your kicker in field goal range. Snapper, holder, and kicker got it. They got to finish that for your team. And it wasn't a long field goal. It was a chip shot. And disappointed for them that they couldn't get it done. But credit to New Mexico State, hanging around, just doing what they had to do to get the win.
Well, and that Wiggins kid, he's the one that had a big game against, NC State a couple weeks ago. And they should, La Tech's got a decent little team. They just haven't been able to finish all the time. They got some talent on that roster for sure. Well, by the way, I missed this at the top of the show. It is a little cold. It is fall. You'll never believe what I've brewed up this morning, Jeff, and that is the Pumpkin Space.
Oh, wow.
Pumpkin Spice coffee from Deca Gray Coffee Company in the Dolphins mug too there. See
I
that?
like it.
But I'll tell you, if you're like, have you ever seen, I don't know if Scarlett does this. Lauren, sometimes she lights all her fall candles and stuff when it starts getting fall. And I'll put the pot on the stove with the cinnamon and all the stuff, make it smell real nice. All you got to do now, just put a pot of pumpkin spice coffee on, and the whole house. I woke up this morning, the whole house smelled like pumpkin spice.
Did it really?
I mean, it sure did. It sure did. Now, my wife she'll also add the pumpkin spice creamer to it and really make it, like a Starbucks drink. But really, you really not a ton of like difference in the taste, because I just have it.
Yeah, black.
I don't know if you call this black because it's pumpkin spice, but you know what I mean. But anyway, really good stuff. And then I need to order they got a peppermint one, I think. You'd order that one for Christmas time. But anyway, you guys visit decagray.com. You can get the pumpkin space. You can get the Group of 5 Guys Game Day Dark Roast. Use our promo code GOFG for 10% off and free shipping. We got Wednesday night ball and we got Thursday night ball we got to talk about tonight. Big one here in Conference USA. Western Kentucky at Sam Houston. Can Sam Houston prove that they belong in the top tier of this conference? Now, I know Sam Houston fans are not going to like this, but this is the reason at least I have had them a little lower than even a Texas State in the poll is. I kind of thought that game was a little fluky. I mean, they were down big in that game, and they did come back, so credit to them. But then they got smoked by a not very good UCF team. And then outside of that, they hadn't really played anybody too good. Now, Western on the other side, do we get good Western tonight, or do we get inconsistent, kind of sloppy Western? Because if you get that one, Sam Houston's going to roll. But I'm leaning towards good Western tonight. I'm leaning towards Western sort of flexing their muscle as one of the top dogs in Conference USA at Sam Houston. Hopefully we get a decent crowd. That's in Huntsville, Texas, where Sam Houston is. Hopefully we get a good crowd, but I'm fired up to watch this game and really, really watch both teams.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting matchup. What Sam Houston wants to do, they run a lot. Their leading rusher is also their quarterback, Hunter Watson. So they want to control time of possession. They want to be physical and beat you up and play good defense. And if they're able to run the ball, they'll keep Caden Veltkamp in this offense on the sideline, which plays in their favor. I just think that Western has the firepower to beat Sam Houston. I think they're overall a better team athletically, but it's going to come down to just the style of play. If Sam Houston can dictate the tempo of this game, they're going to be in it and they'll have a good shot to win. So it's which style can prevail. Can Western's defense get enough stops, maybe get a turnover here and there to get the extra possessions for their offense? But that's always what it kind of comes down to, right? Time of possession, turnovers, explosive plays. I'm going to say that until the cows come home. Whoever wins those three phases, they're going to win most games.
Now do you
I'm
think,
going to
Jeff,
take Western to I'm going to bump that line down a little bit, plus 7.5. You don't lose that much juice on it. That way, for betting purposes, I think Western keeps it within a touchdown for sure.
I mean, I think Western wins the game. I do. I think they're better. I mean, I think they're more talented. I think it's just a matter of if they come to play. And we've seen Western, however, over the last couple of years, they'll have that game where they just, I mean, they kind of, who they have, they already had one this year, didn't they? Who have they lost to? They lost to Alabama, I think, and then they lost to, dang it.
I got you. They lost to Boston College. They should have beat Boston College.
They should have beat Boston College, yeah. All right. Well, they hadn't really, that's all their losses, though?
Yeah, Alabama and Boston College. They beat Eastern Kentucky, beat Middle Tennessee, beat Toledo in that weird kind of delayed game, and beat UTEP.
Well, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, Boston College is a lot better too, but they should have had that game. Well, give me Western in this one to win straight up. Now, I would say that the winner of this game is going to be playing Liberty for the conference championship. But again, the way Western is, they could win this and then mess around and lose one later on.
Oh, that's not what that's not what I thought you were gonna say.
Oh, what'd you think I was going to say? Oh, going to beat Liberty?
No, I was just gonna say Liberty's gonna lose November 9th at Johnny Red Floyd Stadium. So then you're gonna have like a 3-way tie.
Jeff, buddy, I love
Look,
you.
we're back. The Blue Raiders are back. We get one win.
We need to get in some sort of rehab for this. This is a problem. We ain't good. Look, I love them. I love them.
It's
I'm
a tough
telling
time
people,
in the Murphy household for a fan base.
I was telling people at work yesterday. Yesterday at work, people were like, "Who's Sprouse? Who plays tonight?" I don't think there's any games. Don't watch, please don't watch. But anyway, every time we get a bunch of national television games, it's like in a down year. It seems like. Anyway, FIU at UTEP. Hey, listen, I told you FIU is going to be a bowl team. You just watch. Them rattle off some wins here. I don't know that they'll cover that -7 on the road at UTEP, but give me FIU. UTEP struggling. I'm still pulling for Scotty Walden. I still think he's building culture first, but they got a lot. They're behind quite a bit. So, but give me FIU there.
They can't seem to figure out how to move the ball and score points. And seems like the last couple weeks have been giving more opportunity to some of their younger guys on the roster, freshmen. I think it's to kind of see what you got, see what some of this young talent that you've recruited from the high school ranks to get out there and show what they can do for the future. But I think he's doing it the right way. You got to build your culture first. You hope you get some wins along the way, but they're just struggling on offense. I give me FIU for sure. I want to say they covered. They should cover because athletically they're better. But FIU sometimes it's just FIU, and you don't know why they're not, getting turnovers on defense, having explosive plays on offense. But yeah, I think FIU takes care of business. Takes care of business.
Careful. The Thursday night. What's a big one in the Sun Belt? Georgia State at Marshall. Marshall -9. We talked on the phone yesterday, Jeff, and I think we're both in agreement. Marshall can't wait to kick this game off. After the way they blew that game in Statesboro, they are going to come out, I think, firing. I think it sounds like they got their coach's back. Sounds like the coach has their back. The fans, maybe not, but I think they want to go almost shut up their own fans, to be honest with you. And I think they're going to do that. I mean, Marshall's a good team. Look, you go back and watch that Georgia Southern game. Yes, there was some terrible officiating that went Marshall's way in that game. But then at the end of the game, you bring in your backup quarterback, intentional grounding in the end zone. Then you bring your starter back in. He fumbles right away. He fumbles again. It's just like a lot of stuff that went Georgia Southern's way at the end. But give me Marshall. I mean, Georgia State, how they beat, New Mexico State, Nashville a couple weeks ago is very impressive because that program is.
I love what you did there too, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm about sick of Diego Pavia. Now all of a sudden he's a Heisman candidate. All of a sudden he's got NIL all over the place. It's like, where was that when Liberty beat him twice and you told us how bad they were?
Started his own podcast.
I saw that. Did you see where some T-shirt company? Did you see that little debate they got going on? Some T-shirt company made a Pavia T-shirt, and it said like, "Hey, proceeds go to Diego Pavia," and then Diego Pavia like retweeted it and said like, "Nope, this is not me." Like,
really?
Whatever. But then the T-shirt company like put underneath it was like, "Yeah, this has been approved by Vanderbilt." And like, I think it's one team or one nation or something like that, which is
interesting. It might be that
like
NIL
the NIL.
Company.
Yeah. So now here's the next level to this, right? Maybe the agent agrees to something, or maybe the NIL company agrees to something, and the player thinks, oh, well, I'm hot right now. So we're going to make sure this deal gets done and I get a little more of this. I don't know if that's the case here, but I thought that was very interesting.
Well, I mean, he's a great player, and we saw it last year at New Mexico State, and he's been able to translate it, at Vanderbilt. The one thing I'll say is There's a lot going on around him in that program right now. Better make sure you're focused on the field because you get too many of these distractions. Now you're worried about the wrong things, and now on the field you're not producing. So far he's been able to do it, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, and they play. I think they play Ball State this week. Not that it matters for this show, but then I believe they welcome Texas to Nashville. I think Texas will probably put them back in their place just a little bit. But anyway, yeah, Marshall rolls, right?
I mean, think so. I think they
surely.
That's what I think is going to happen. If they don't, then the Huff, stuff's going to really start to get real loud.
Yes, it will. Because look, we talked like this is what we said on the phone. Marshall handles business, and if James Madison goes to Statesboro on Saturday and wins that game, then Marshall plays James Madison, and they have some kind of a tiebreak at that point. So, I mean, there's still a long way to go. Long way to go. But Jeff, we got a ton of voicemails, so let's get to those quickly. You guys, voicemails have been rolling, but keep calling that hotline at 615-900-4286. Give your trash talk, give your reaction from games, all the above. Jeff, let's see what we got.
I'm going to start off with some of the App State fans. A couple of these are from over the weekend, so keep those in mind.
Group of 5 guys, love what you do. Let me just start with that. Yes, that's Pipe 05. Man, just got to say, hats off to the Lafayette Raging Cajuns, but App State's got too many things going in the right direction for one person to bring it down. And decision-making is everything. So let me just say that O-line play, defense, wide receivers, and running back room. Y'all got it together in Mountaineer Nation. Boys, keep trucking. I hope the coaching staff makes something work with either Joey, Shed, or Billy Wiles, or Zach Wilson, 24. Let's go. I don't give a shit. But something's got to change. Like, these fucking these turnovers, these fucking big moments, This is what I hate about the transfer portal, NIL, and all the bullshit. Is that, you got a guy that comes into the culture and he gets paid because he does figure it out one time, but man, come on, figure it out. This isn't Pee-wee. These aren't Monopoly dollars. Sorry for, all the editing, Rousey. But, come on, guys.
Not me.
We gotta be smarter. Gotta play better. We gotta make better decisions. That last pick, unexcusable. Wide open to fucking double coverage. Double coverage. Anyways, thank you guys. Go Group 5 guys. Go Sunbelt. Go Mountaineers. Go Western North Carolina. Thank you for all you do, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it's tough to see App like this. It's just they're not playing the normal brand of football we're accustomed to seeing. And, I feel it. I feel it for him, man.
Yeah. Well, and you talked about that NIL stuff. I think you're going to start seeing that. I think you're going to start seeing more coaches go the Dabo Sweeney route. As much shit as Dabo got. Are we delayed? We need to get on a ton of delay like the radio shows.
There's no delay.
But Dabo got a bunch of flack. Remember that? Oh, and now all of a sudden Dabo's winning, and Dabo looks like the genius. And I think that's what coaches are going to do is I'm not saying they're going to completely ignore the portal, but look, if you actually have good coaches and good evaluators and you develop, God forbid, you develop a guy and allow him to improve over time instead of just replacing everybody every year, I think that's the better recipe. I really do. I think then because he mentioned culture in that call, and that is so much more important than anybody I think realizes.
Yeah, and the transfer portal, it's like when you were growing up and you were in middle school or high school, and you get that new girl that moved into town, and everybody's fired up.
Everybody thinks she's
pretty,
hot.
and she's new. She may be from different towns, so she's a little bit different than what you're accustomed to seeing. After a while, she starts to lose her luster a little bit. Everybody's been hanging out with her. I think that's what we get with this transfer portal. I think everybody's starting to realize it's not as great and as productive as it's been made out to be. And there's something to be said about culture and getting guys in the building that you recruited, that you can hopefully keep with NIL, like NIL was originally supposed to be, and keep your good players. I think that's the key. But anyways, appreciate the call. We're going to go to our boy Stu's Right, keep it in the App State realm before we move on. And then keep it going. We got quite a few to get to.
Hey, boys. Stu's Right on Twitter. Hold on to the fucking football. Hold on to the fucking football. Stupid turnovers. Same shit it cost us every game we lost last year. Hold on to the fucking football. We got hosed on that Kanye Roberts fumble. He was down. I don't know how you review that. And do we only have one fucking angle to look at it? He was down. That changes the whole complexion of the game. The defense finally showed up. They played well. Just don't turn the fucking ball over. It's that simple. Hold on to the football.
I feel like we got that same exact call last year from Stu after I think it was the Coastal game.
Yes, well, yeah, because they had the big play that would have set them up for a game-winning field goal, and they fumbled it. And then Coastal went down and kicked the game-winning field goal. Now, yeah, I mean, look, everybody wants to call for Clark, or then at Marshall, they all want to call for Huff. But fumbling, like, sure, like you can practice it, but all that, especially situationally, like, I mean, you hear every game you watch at the end of the game and they start running the ball. You hear every announcer ever, well, all they want to do here is hold on to the ball, hold on to the ball. I mean, you can't really do anything other than tell them to hold on to the ball. I mean,
yeah.
Now you can take guys out if they're perpetual fumblers, but I mean, that's not really coaching, man.
I don't think. I mean, it is to a degree, but it's not as much as people seem to make it out to be.
Yeah.
But appreciate you, Stu. Hate it's going this direction, but we're in that same boat. We're having a rough year. Let's keep it rolling. See our boy Terry Jones.
Yeah, but we don't have expectations, Jeff. That's the difference.
That is very true.
We knew this was coming.
Yeah, we did.
Group of 5 guys. Another Cajuns win. Happy about that. All right. I'm happy. All right. Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah. 4 straight wins over Sean Clark and App State. That's awesome. I really want Clark to work out at App State because it just seems like whenever we play App State, he's the head coach, we can finally win. Because he got 8 straight wins on us in the past, and we got 4 straight on them now. Shout out to Stu's Right, being a good sport. Wasn't a pretty win. I don't think we ran the ball that well on our defense. Allowed too much yards on the ground, but we got 5 takeaways on defense. 4 interceptions, a scoop, and almost a score. You know, some of those officiating is horrible. That scoop and score probably runner was down, but you know, it's a win, man. It's a win. I'm happy. Are y'all happy that I'm saying this? I'm happy for the Cajuns. Okay. You know, I'm just trying not to be too excited. Attendance was horrible. The school across the basin had a home game against, you know, another SEC team, and none of the students want to go to support the game. And I understand the administration isn't the best, but come on, man, this team's 5-1. You got a homegrown head coach that loves this school. Come and support your freaking school, man. I'm going to try not to. Come and support your freaking school, man. Come on, man. The team's really good. You got to play the Beach Chickens next week. Shout out to Steeple, a.k.a. Steeple Daddy. They got handled by their daddies, JMU Dukes, on national television in midweek. So they're going to be licking their wounds. I know they're going to be ready to play. Yeah, I think Dilfer is done at UAB. It's time to, you know, take them out in the backyard like Old Yeller and just, or Lenny from Mice and Men and just do it, man. Just Mark Ingram, the AD at the UAB, just take them outside and just take care of business, okay? Stayed up for the nightcap to watch the Heisman front runner, Ashton Genty. He was awesome. Think he's the front runner, especially since Travis Hunter didn't play in the second half. And the Shador really just isn't that great in crunch time in that game. And, yeah, man, it was awesome. And just so you know, whenever you guys make your rankings, we will be too high. God bless Group of Five. God bless Group of Five, guys. Go Cajuns.
I heard some positivity in there.
A little bit of positivity. Well, we have them at 8, 9 this week.
Somewhere, I think somewhere in there.
I mean, they're right after, at this point, they're right after that top 6 or 7. I think we have them. I mean, but I do think there's a bit of a gap, Terry. If you want a little negativity, I think there's a little gap between the top 6 or 7 and the rest of them. But hey, a ball club. Yeah. See, that's a perfect example of, though, like, normally you'd hear fans say, oh, give me a winning team. Okay. 5-1. Oh, give me this and that. It's just, man, I hate it. You don't ever want to be against the fans, but the fans, they piss me off. Most of them do.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
But anyway, what else we got?
Somebody was eating some crow.
Oh no.
Hey, Group 5 guys. This is Steve _PC_51. No AKAs this time. I just want to say that I'm fully stuffed from eating all this crow. JMU, you got to give it credit. I just thought we were going to come out on fire, which we did. And then the wheels fell off. I guess that home field advantage at JMU is for real. Dismal performance. But I'm not going to dwell on that. All you JMU fans, congratulations. Stepped up once again. You put Coastal in their place. But we'll be back. Totally disappointed. But I can tell you one thing. I'm not disappointed as my boy Stu Wright in App State. And
still throwing shade.
Zach at
yes.
Troy. All you guys in Troy. We still got something to look forward to. 1-1 in the conference. Every game looks beatable. It looks like we got our boy Terry Johnson. You're next, buddy. Definitely going to be coming at you next week. I hope to be on Twitter all game long, going back and forth with you, buddy. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Georgia State, I have no idea what you're doing. You're up, big game, and then you drop the next couple games. And now you got a Marshall. You have to go to Marshall. Not worry about you in the East. Texas State still look dominant, but you run into an Old Dominion team that has a lot of confidence. Played Coastal very well, won this last game, and then Texas State, you got to come into them. That's a tough place to play. So looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to that 3 o'clock game in Statesboro. James Madison to Georgia Southern. I never pulled for Georgia Southern as much as I'm pulling for them now. Yes, I'm with you guys down there in Georgia Southern. Let's go. Let's go. And my poor dark horse Southern Miss. And we can't win a game for nothing in the world. I hope we can pull it off against Arkansas State. I doubt it, but I'm pulling for them. Anyway, I don't have much more. Just want to say I apologize to you JMU people. Chuck, I'm so sorry. Charles, whatever. But once again, Terry Johnson, Louisiana, we're coming for you. Make sure you have the good hot sauce there. Chance up.
I love his calls.
I forgot about that hot sauce debate from last year. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember Steeple called and was like, Louisiana hot sauce sucks or whatever.
You got all the Cajun people pissed off.
But he's probably got a root for James Madison to beat Georgia Southern. If Georgia Southern beats James Madison, they are Coastals. I mean, right?
Well, no, because if Georgia Southern beats JMU, you need JMU to lose.
Yeah.
Because if Coastal can somehow win out, and JMU has more than one loss in conference, then they'll have the leg up because the head-to-head doesn't matter. Because you already got one conference loss in Monroe. They get one more, and then they got two. As long as Coastal takes care of business.
Yep.
So, appreciate you, Steeple. Run through a couple more of these, and we'll get out of here.
GOF guys, this is Roger from North Carolina, the Flames fan. Just what a crazy week just happened. Starting out with Liberty, pulled out one in overtime to FIU, then JMU running all over Coastal Carolina. Buffalo over Toledo, who would have thought? ODU pulled out a good one. Rice pulled up that good one against UTSA. Then Marshall losing by a 20-point lead there in the fourth quarter to give it up, but they had that game won. But and sorry about Middle Tennessee. Guys, I was pulling for you because y'all like them, but man, they just don't seem to value the ball, defense or offense. And even crazier with the G4 stuff. So Group of 5 did great. G4 had a lot of crazy stuff going on too. Looking forward to your comments for what's going to be happening this coming week. But man, what a crazy week just finished up. And Jeff, I appreciate your sensitivity to things, particularly regarding the state LU game being canceled from a few weeks ago. Buddy, you've done a great job. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, Roger.
Oh, thanks.
We try to be as fair and balanced as possible.
Call, but you could tell that call was before last night because no need to be sorry for us and the Blue Raiders.
We're back.
Because we're back.
We are back, Stedman. No, appreciate the call. Not sure if Roger's ever called in before. I think that's his first time. But keep them coming. We'll keep this thing rolling. This is the last call from the weekend, and then we'll get to the ones from yesterday.
Group of 5 guys. Joe Judson's here. It's Monday morning. Troy versus that team in Mobile week, so I got to start this voicemail off with South. Now, next thing. I want to thank you guys for what you do and what you've done. Man, you guys are building a community nationwide, dude. Y'all have brought true football fans together from like San Diego to Boca, from El Paso to Buffalo, and all parts in between. You think there's any way in hell I'm watching Boise, Hawaii at 10 o'clock at night kickoff? Not for you guys? Hell no. I'm trying to get snuggy with mama. A Georgia Southern Marshall? No way. Would I have given one much less a Toledo game or Ball State or JMU? Just go down the list, fellas. You're our Sergeant Huckle, boys. Our Big Toe. What you've done for the Group of 5 family in Appalachia, to me getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning 3 days a week to listen to two guys in their home studios talking about football teams my wife's never heard of. Got to get me some Decker Great coffee, boys. Wish they had it in Keurig. To making our fans where tailgates together can be enjoyed in the spirit of fun and family. I just so appreciate you and what you do and we got to get you some sponsorship. That's all I can say. Next, have not left any voicemails in a few. I've witnessed ULM come into Troy with their turnip pulling mule and beat our mule 13-9 in a field goal showcase. Then I watched Texas State come into Troy like a cattle trailer full of castrated bulls and put a hobnail boot in our ass and twist it until we shit out our mouths. But this is South Week, and Troy Trojans need to get their asses to Mobile tomorrow night and own that city, like we always do. Take a half a day off, drive your asses to Mobile, and help us beat South. We have a chance to make a statement, maintain the belt, feel much better about our season and our team on national fucking TV. Get to Mobile. Lastly, I want to shout out to Zach Brainer, a true Trojan from Troy, Group of 5 guy regular, for getting him shot to play at the next level in Tulsa. To Georgia Southern for their fantastic finish. Nevada for beating Oregon State for just another example. To ULM, damn, about to spit that up in my mouth, for two things: keeping the Sun Belt playoff hopes alive, and second, and most importantly, for what you guys have done to help the people in Appalachia. These cats have raised some cash now. They need to be recognized. Damn, that tastes. Last thing, sure appreciate what you guys do, what you bring to us. Safe travels to Statesboro, my friends. South, it's time to cry havoc and slip them dogs of war in Mobile. Hope to see you soon in Troy.
Appreciate you, Joe.
Great call as always.
Fantastic. Always.
I appreciate that one, man. I mean, that's great to. I mean, we kind of talk about it, me and you do, Jeff, about the community and stuff. But I mean, yeah, dude, Jeff, go ahead and pat yourself on the back. I'll pat myself on the back. I think I love that though, because that was the goal, right? Like everybody tells you to go watch, LSU and whoever they were playing. But we now have people that are not fans of these schools watching Buffalo and Toledo, Georgia Southern and Marshall, and that's what we want. That way, when we start the Group of Five network, the TV deal's massive because the TV ratings will be good.
Yeah.
So.
No, I appreciate the kind words, Joe. And
yeah, I love that, man.
You guys for us have supported us in our endeavor, trying to grow this thing and make it something we can do full time. We're not quite there yet, but God willing, we'll get there. And it doesn't happen without you guys, so it means a lot to us. And honestly, like me and Sprouse have a lot of conversations throughout the week, and there's some weeks where we're just like, man, how can we make this thing go? It's a roller coaster. There's some weeks where we feel great, some weeks where it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel with. Just be frank, like everything we do is out of our own pocket. And, we got kids and families and property, like everything, how it is. Most of our fan base has kids or families, and they understand the grind of life. And, but you guys and your kind words and your support of us, that's what keeps this thing rolling.
No doubt.
Keeps the energy there. And hopefully we can make it go and do this thing full time. But till then, we'll be here, rocking and rolling. Finish it off with our last two calls, and these were from last night.
What's up, Group of Five, guys? It's Brad. I'm walking out of the one and only Johnny Red Floyd Stadium. If you're driving right now, please pull over. I have shocking news. Middle Tennessee won a game. Oh, yeah. We beat the mighty Kennesaw State Owls. Woo, woo. Yeah, man. Now they're winless. We have 2 wins. Just 4 more for bowl eligibility. Come get some, Liberty. Come get some in Sam Houston State. We actually played some defense today. Hey, when you have 1 win, beggars can't be choosers. We won the game. The tailgate remained undefeated. And Middle Tennessee's back on track. Let's see what we can do against those cocks next week. Oh, yeah. Go Blue and go Group of Five. Thanks for everything you do.
We are back, Stedman.
Where does Brad tailgate at?
I don't know.
Do we
I
know?
need to meet up with him next time.
Yeah.
Should be a DM, Brad, if you're on the Twitters. Or just come by the deli and introduce yourself. Let me know where you're at.
There you go.
We are back.
Love that. I mean, that was shocking news. Shocking news for a lot of people. They used to do that at FAU games back in the day. They'd play, "Who let the owls out?" and they would go, "Who, who." Very intimidating.
Oh man, that's good stuff. Appreciate the call, and we'll finish this off with our good friend Zach Green.
Hey guys, Zach Green here. Just wanted to call in on this Liberty bye week and plug some CUSA football. Unfortunately, this is our second bye week in 3 weeks. Obviously, the first one was not intended. This was the originally planned bye week. So we're currently in our football desert right now in Flames Nation. But that's all right. Looking forward to hopefully, like I said before, getting our get-right game next Wednesday night versus Kennesaw, though. But this week, we have got a huge Conference USA game on Wednesday night between Sam Houston and Western Kentucky. I know there's some really bad teams at the bottom of this conference. I'm saying this to you kind of CUSA haters out there. Oh, they don't play anybody, people. I get that. There's some really bad teams at the bottom of this conference. But at the top, I like our 4, and 2 of those are going to war tomorrow night. Bearcats versus Hilltoppers. Sam Houston is 5-1 going into this game. Obviously, they had that big comeback win against Texas State. And then they had a not close loss against UCF. But every other game than that, their 4 other wins in addition to that Texas State win were not particularly close. And they're looking like a really high-quality group of 5 team. And I'm concerned about them for Liberty at the end of November on Black Friday. We got them. So, obviously, Western Kentucky's kind of been a staple of Conference USA. They have that win over Toledo, which doesn't look as good as it used to after this past weekend, but Toledo still did blow out Mississippi State on the road and are still a quality team. So this game tomorrow night, if you can watch it, please do, because it's going to be a really good game. It's going to have big implications for the Conference USA race, and it's just going to be big. A lot of big games coming up in Conference USA between the top 4 teams, so I'm excited about that. And I'm sorry that the Raiders are not really part of that conversation right now, fellas. But with that in mind, I just wanted to say that I'm planning on being there on November 9th. So, Jeff, I'm assuming you're going to be there, but I know you guys could have some other plans that weekend. But if you're going to be there, Jeff, would love to see you. Definitely want to hit up the deli to see what you got cooking there. So going to have a couple of friends with me as well. So looking forward to that trip and to that game, and just wanted to shout out and plug some Conference USA ball. Thanks, guys.
Oh, you know I'll be there, Zach. I would not miss the Blue Raiders knocking off the number 1 team in the conference at the Iron Skillet with 3,000 screaming Blue Raider fans.
Well, Jeff, he said he's going to bring a couple people, so Liberty may outnumber the Raider. They actually might outnumber the Raider fans.
No, they really might. No, definitely hit me up, man. We got some other Liberty folks coming in too, so maybe we can do like a meetup at the shop or something, or people just come. Let me know. Definitely let me know, because I'm in and out of the shop a lot these days. That way I can be there. We can have a sandwich together.
There you go. Laney special, huh, Jeff?
Ain't no doubt.
What's your number 1 selling sandwich?
Man, it depends on the day. You know, some days it's a Laney, which is the hot pastrami, provolone, and bacon. Italian beef is always a great one if you like the spicy jardinera peppers. A lot of Reubens.
Look at you getting
Italian
fired
combo,
up with the ingredients.
soprano, a little gabagool, hot salami, mortadella, some fresh mozz. We go all day. I got it. Fresh bread, baked every morning. Wheeled across the square for my good friends at Simply Pure Sweets. Telling you, man.
Now,
Take pride in our products, Browse. 40 years in the making. Family recipes.
That Laney special that I had from the original Domenico's in Alameda, California, that was something special, Jeff.
It's good stuff, man.
Something special. But I don't know what Zach's talking about Middle not being a part of the conversation. Not anymore, pal.
I mean, we just got our first conference win, on our way to the top, my friend. To the top.
Anyway, is that all we have voicemail-wise, Jeff?
That's all we got. I think I got everybody. If I missed you, I apologize.
Well, we will be back Friday morning to recap these Wednesday and Thursday games and preview a big-time weekend. A lot of, in our poll, ranked matchups this weekend. So we're going to talk about all of those. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Have the best week ever. Make sure before you do that, you hit the follow button on all the socials at Group of 5 Guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you stream your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel. But most important thing you could do is tell your family and friends and tell your tailgate about our show. That's all we got for you guys today. Y'all have a good one.